Okay, so a couple months ago, I I just took the time out to just think, and think deeply about the cross of Jesus Christ. And as I really sat with it and thought about it, it gave me pause. Um, this type of thinking was spurred on by a book I had read. It's kind of like a long commentary on the life of Christ, and I don't think I'll read too much. We'll see how it goes, but this made a very deep impression on me, and I hope it can bring some significance, and it may make you think about this as deeply as I did as well. But here's what it says. Arriving at the place of execution, the prisoners were bound to the instruments of torture. The two thieves wrestled in the hands of those who placed them on the cross. But Jesus made no resistance. The mother of Jesus, supported by John the beloved disciple, had followed her son to the steps of Calvary. She had seen him fainting under the burden of the cross, and had longed to place a supporting hand beneath his wounded head, and to bathe that brow which had once been plowed, upon her bosom. But she was not permitted this mournful privilege. With the disciples, she still cherished the hope that Jesus would manifest his power and deliver himself from his enemies. Against her heart would sink as she recalled the words in which he had foretold the very scenes that were then taking place. As the thieves were bound to the cross, she looked on with agonizing suspense. Would he who had given life to the dead suffer himself to be crucified? Would the Son of God suffer himself to be cruelly slain? Now that's just one excerpt of a larger book, right? But man, I mean, that one excerpt alone really made me pause and think. I was like, wow. And mind you, this is just from the perspective of his mother, right? So we see, she has those motherly desires. She wants to support him. She wants to save him. She wants to rescue him from all this agony that he's facing. But in the midst of that, as the author already said, she's remembering that he said all of these things were going to happen. He said he was going to die. One of my favorite parables of Jesus in John 12, he says, unless a seed goes into the ground and dies, it'll never grow. And it's the simplest of examples, but it makes the most sense, right? And it perfectly shows how Christ was going to die and then rise again. And so I paused with that. I sat and I thought, and I was just like, man, the crucifixion of Jesus was a gruesome event. It's a terrible thing that happened. The Son of God has to die. He's being whipped almost 40 times, dragged across Jerusalem. So he's publicly shown and displayed in front of everyone. Look at this criminal. Look at this guy who said he was going to destroy the temple. Look at this false teacher. Dragged around the city with over 100-pound wooden cross on his back. And filmmakers and TV show people, the Chosen is out. I know I have to catch up because, they've been doing a good work. They can try, but they can't capture at the end of the day. They can try, but they can only hope to try, because there's so much. Like, we're talking about someone who doesn't have to die and yet dies for all of us so that we can gain victory over sin, so that we can be reconciled back to God. I mean, good Lord. As I look at my notes here, some of the things that I was remembering is that, they drove nails through his hand. He shouldn't be able to use his hands. Scripture says that none of his bones were going to be broken, even though they drove nails through his hands. I'm not a medical person or whatever, but that should be impossible. I mean, they drive spikes through his feet, right? Or nails through his feet. He shouldn't be able to walk. I mean, all this makes us think, man, what did he really do? He didn't do anything to merit that. He didn't do anything to deserve all of that. At worst, he's somebody who disagrees with their theological positions a bit, or is expounding. At the very worst, he's going against the 600 plus laws they added to God's original laws and ceremonies. That's the worst he is. I mean, you put yourself in that place. Your arms are completely stretched. I know one of my arms is cut off here in the video. Your arms are completely stretched. Your legs may be cramping. Your head is bleeding because you've got this thorns on your head. I mean, it's over the course of hours, it's matting against your hair. So my hair has gotten pretty long, but it's matting against your hair. So you've got a mix of hair and blood, and then you're sweating because you're in Palestine in the hot sun. Come on, man. And I think this is the point. We all are deserving of death. Christ took our place. He didn't just do this thing of, oh, I'd die for you. No. He literally said and did, hey, I will die for you. And then actually did. What does he say in the Gospels, right? Greater love has no man than this, than the one who lays down his life for his friends. I mean, that alone is amazing. And then he gets back up. He's raised from the dead. He gets back up. One of my favorite biblical writers, Paul, says that he was raised for our justification. So that Adam, in the Bible, his sin led to our condemnation. Paul says Jesus was raised back to life for our justification, so that we can be made right with God. I mean, guys, if that's not good news, as I mentioned in the other video, if that's not good news, I don't know what is. Because that's as amazing and as powerful as it gets. It does not get better than that. It really doesn't. Or actually, it might, because he does say he's coming back. And I mean, gosh, so much to get in with that, right? But this is the point. This is what I want to say. Whether you're Christian or non-Christian, we ought to contemplate the cross. Contemplate the suffering, right? Contemplate the fact that he does all of this because he loves. He loves, he loves, he loves all of us. I don't want to yell it into the mic, but he does. He loves all of us. Like that's the underscore. That's the reason for all of this. It's all out of love. And then number 3, we should contemplate, which is a longer way of saying meditate or think about. We should contemplate the cross because it has transforming power. You know, I truly believe, if for nothing else, the cross of Jesus Christ, which is on my Bible here, that is not just another symbol among many. I believe from the bottom of my heart that is the most powerful symbol on the planet. It's got to be the most powerful symbol on the planet. And not only is it a powerful symbol, but I believe, and I think this is the gospel message in short, I believe that this symbol can change your life. How? Well, one of the followers of the guy who got crucified. I mean, he was a basket case. Cuts a guy's ear off, walks on water, gets an insane catch of fish. I mean, all of the followers of this guy went from crazy, even some deranged. I mean, some of them were straight nationalists, right? One of them, his name is Simon the Zealot. He would be what we would consider maybe like Hebrew Israelite of the day, or some type of extreme. And through the teachings, his life and ministry, this guy just wasn't another great teacher among many. He was quite literally God's son. God's son. They were all changed by the power of God's son and by his sacrifice. And they changed the world with that. All from the cross of Jesus Christ. So, as you go through the rest of this week, as you go through life, whether you're a believer or not, I do think it's worth thinking about. I do think it's worth seriously contemplating the cross of Christ. Because there's nothing else that I will qualify. In my perspective, there is nothing else that is going to save you. Unless it's the cross of Jesus Christ. That, the cross has the transforming power to change yours, your family's, everyone's lives, if you allow. So contemplate the cross.